I'm Damian Lambkin. I'm the CEO and founder of AnyWaste Global and the AnyWaste.com waste tracking system. We track waste basically. So we help producers of the waste, recyclers and waste carriers digitize what is historically a paper-based platform. We don't just operate in the UK, we operate completely globally. So we have clients in Italy, Sweden, even South Korea and the UK. And our system will be going live within the next 4 to 5 months.
I'm Eustice and I'm a board advisor at AnyWaste. We all know that there are real problems with illegality creeping in with waste, and so waste being misdescribed, ending up at the wrong place, and it's very, very difficult for regulators to be able to track that waste to make sure that the system's being implemented in the right way. And so the great advantage of a digital waste tracking system is it enables you in a much more effective, efficient way to track individual consignments, and for regulators crucially be able to view the journey of that waste and to check that there's a photograph that shows that it was what the waste was described as, to check that the waste ended up where it should have ended up, and to be able to see what happened to that waste at the end point. And the difficulty at the moment is there's lots and lots of paper generated and shuffled about, but it's not a very easy basis in which to run an enforcement regime.
I'm Rohan Wills. I am Head of Business Development at AnyWaste Global. We manage a digital platform that picks up waste from collection all the way down to export. So there's sorting that happens, a waste stream might get picked up, collected, taken to a waste recycler or waste processor. That waste is then sorted and then moved on to someone who might treat the waste further down the line. So we track waste from the producer to the recycler to the final refiner, and we do that globally.
How do we operate to bring our partners together? Well, it's really quite simple. We've been working within this industry for over 26 years. Well, personally, I've had electronic waste and reuse recycling companies. I've had a WE compliance scheme that I co-founded, authored and set up myself. I've worked for larger multi-regime producer compliance schemes. I'm also the former CEO of Phoenix Battery Recycling. I've worked globally in the battery and waste electrical and plastics recycling industries for the last 26 years. So I'm quite well-known character in the recycling space. So being able to match up the people who can do the right services for the right customer has been what I've been doing for the last 26 years. Now we can do that whilst helping clients be able to facilitate the transport of non-hazardous and hazardous waste with ease, and to be able to track it digitally, which allows us to eliminate the possibilities of illicit waste trafficking, for missed loads and misdescribed loads, which can often happen. We've had several clients who've had loads leave the UK and Europe, arrive on foreign shores only for them to find out it's not been as described when it arrived at their port, and for it to have to come back again. These are wasted loads. Solid waste is accountable, solid waste movement is accountable for up to 5% of all greenhouse emissions globally. So it's our mission, we'd like to take it on ourselves at AnyWaste, is to try and be able to track these routes and help reduce those movements by putting the right recycler in partnership with the right producer of waste. Then we can help eliminate these unnecessary transports.
I think to get an effective regime for the circular economy and to realise the value that's in things that today is described as waste but should be regarded as a resource, we've got to get the regulatory regime right as well. And the government's recently done a review that was headed by Dan Corey to look at how we could improve the regulatory regimes, and he highlighted some of the barriers and problems there are at the moment with the environmental permitting regs, which can be modernised and can be improved. And there's also, of course, a circular economy task force at the moment that's looking at how we can change the regulatory landscape to make it easier for the circular economy to work, easier to retain that value here in the UK. And what we're doing at AnyWaste is working with recyclers like Lincoln Storm here today, but also other organisations like Waste Care as well that run some of the battery compliance schemes, to really see what's needed to improve the regulatory regime so that we've got something that is fit for purpose, that's proportionate, that delivers everything it needs to in terms of environmental safety, but also makes it easier to build facilities like this and build them quicker and expand them faster. we've long recognised that there are huge problems on many waste streams once they're exported. And the great challenge is that the Environment Agency will say that once it leaves UK waters, it's no longer their responsibility. And in practice, that means that once it's on a ship and it's sent, we have no real visibility on what happens to it at the other end. So the beauty of a global system is that it makes it much easier to ensure that waste that we export is ending up in the right place, because we can track it to its end destination. And we've got obligations under things like the Basel Convention to make sure that that waste is properly treated. We've long recognised that there's a problem with waste that's exported. We don't in this country at the moment take enough responsibility for our own waste, for processing it here, for recycling it here. There's a lot of talk and a lot of emphasis on the circular economy, but all too often we put our waste on a ship and send it over to another country and make it their problem and leave it for them to sort out. So the great beauty of having a global waste tracking system is you can understand the provenance of the waste, where it ends up and how it was processed, and that's really essential to make sure that we get these waste streams working properly.
So there are issues within the waste industry, one of them being waste crime and illicit waste crime, as well as fly tipping. So by being able to track the waste, we're able to hold people accountable for what they get rid of. The other plus side to this is if you're you have your own business and you have your own shop and you want to get rid of your waste, at the moment people typically go onto a Google search or just quickly pick up and ring up your largest municipal waste company. They don't particularly specialise in any one variety of waste. So by going onto the AnyWaste.com system, you can choose the specialist recycler for your specialist waste. For example, waste electrics, battery waste, paper, cardboard or plastic. But you can actually find the correct recycler for it. We'll put you in contact with someone who will be able to not just be able to pick up your waste, but also recycle it as well. Now, the other downside to waste and waste movement all over the world is you can order a skip to come to your house because you've got some house renovations to do. They say they'll be with you in the morning, you've got no idea. You've got 3 screaming kids shouting at you all day long. It'd be much easier if you could just open up your app and see where the lorry is, so you know whether you've got to be in or whether you've got to be out. It just makes life simple. The legal element behind this is duty of care. Now, duty of care is an enforceable and legal requirement for every movement of waste anywhere in the UK, Europe or globally. Currently, this is a paper-based platform. Now, paper-based platforms rely heavily on the handwriting of individuals using writing of the duty of care, but not just that, on whether it can be kept safe and sound. The amount of times recycling facilities receive duty of care paperwork, it's been torn, burnt, it's not been filled out correctly. This all leads on to fines, not just for the producer of the waste or the carrier of the waste, but also the recycler of the waste. So we eliminate that by making it a very simple, easy to use digital platform that gives you all the clear information as required.
Damian I've known of old, of course, and the reason we want to partner with him is he's got an enviable black book, of course, very, very well known in the industry, and I think the AnyWaste product, although that kind of work isn't something that I personally do, however, I know the system's fantastic, and to have that, traceability where clients can see where their waste is at any point kind of negates the fear that some people have where their waste isn't going to appropriate places.
My name is Stephen Griffiths. I'm the TCM here at Lincoln Storm. TCM stands for Technically Competent Manager. Essentially that means that you hold the relevant qualification required for that waste operation. So as a TCM, I'm responsible for environmental permit compliance here on site. It could be monitoring incoming feedstocks to ensure we're only accepting compliant material, ensuring all of our processes are in line with the permitted techniques, ensuring that fugitive emission is adequately contained, monitoring point source emissions daily, and just ensuring we're overall compliant. So we're going live with the AnyWaste tracking system. It's proven really quite useful. It allows us to monitor incoming feedstocks, ensuring we've got adequate provision on site to accept the waste that is en route. It allows us to manage duty of care documents also. So when we have incoming waste streams coming from across the country, we can manage all duty of care documents electronically, meaning that we restrict the amount of handling of bits of paper and so on. It's really quite useful.
AnyWaste has made many introductions for us. They've got many ideas about problem materials, for example. Of course, we have an engineering prowess. We build a lot of our, machines ourselves. So I think it's a good synergy. If particularly Damian comes to me and says, I want to, we've got this and we could build this, can we do it? Yeah, sure we can do it. And it's nice to have somebody like-minded to plot and plan with.
The AnyWaste.com platform is unique in that it operates globally. We're not just looking to fix a solution just for the UK or just for certain member states within Europe. Our platform, you can track waste leaving your door at your place of business to a recycler either in the UK or South Korea. We'll track the whole thing for you and make sure you have the correct duty of care for it.
So AnyWaste.com integrates logistics, tracking and reporting all under one platform.